Your loop hits the net because of one thing, the invisible break. It means your swing looks complete, but your hand is soft and weak at impact, killing all the power. Alright, today let's talk about why your loop against backspin keeps hitting the net. With the same motion, when I make contact on the upper half of my racket for a forehand drive, the trajectory is normal. But when I hit the ball on the lower half of the racket, see how it dives straight down. Your swing is going up, but the ball's spin is pulling it down. These are opposing forces. When you contact the lower part of the racket, any amount of spin will cause your loop to go straight into the net. So why are you hitting the lower part of your racket? My contact posture should be like this. You're using this posture instead. And against a heavy spin ball, it's very difficult to lift it. Unless you just lift it up like this. So what causes this? The first reason is your racket angle. If your racket angle is like this at contact, it's very easy to hit the upper part of the racket, isn't it? But if your angle is like this, at the same position, you'll contact the lower half of the racket. This is why I tell you to relax. A relaxed hand allows this angle, while a tense hand will naturally cause you to flex your wrist up. Even holding it flat won't work. So, first, to ensure you can brush the ball properly, your wrist must be in a relaxed state. Your backswing should look like this, so no matter where you receive the ball, your racket face is always correct. At the moment of contact, your wrist must be lower than your forearm to get a better point of friction. If your wrist is higher than your forearm at contact, you'll likely hit the ball with the lower half of the racket. Then, you're forced to just push, lift, or hit through the ball, using power to overcome the spin. Even if some shots go over, they won't have quality spin. You're just getting the ball back. The second problem is starting your body rotation too early. You need to let your body wait a moment longer. Watch me loop 2 balls. Do you feel the timing of this motion is correct? Yes, that's correct. Now I'll demonstrate the incorrect motion. When I make contact, my body is low. Even as I rise, I maintain this low posture. But this is what your body posture looks like at contact. One reason is you might start too high and fail to lower your body during preparation. So, at the moment you contact the ball, your body is in this upright state. Our contact position should be in this low state. Look, from this low position, you can really drive through the ball. It's not just about racket angle, the trajectory of your swing is also critical. If your swing ends here, you're leaving it to chance. But if your swing path is here, you can generate friction, use your arm, and meet the ball forward. That's why dropping your shoulder is so important. If you don't drop your shoulder, your instinct is to swing immediately without waiting for the ball. If you swing too early, the problem lies with your shoulder and arm position. You must let your arm drop down, so when you initiate the forward and upward swing to meet the ball, you can actually lift it. If you start with an upright body posture, you'll inevitably hit the lower part of the racket and miss the entire brushing phase. You must get your center of gravity down, your shoulder down, and your hand down. The reason you can generate heavy spin is that you have established the right conditions for friction beforehand. If your contact point is wrong, even with a low start, you still won't generate any spin. Many players can lift the ball, but their loop lacks quality, making it a weak attack. Attacking involves risk. So remember, before contact, your wrist cannot be higher than your forearm. Your shoulder must be down, your body must be low. Only from this low position can you generate power and friction as you swing forward and up. Otherwise, your starting position is where a good player's follow-through ends. You're essentially missing the first half of the stroke. We generate force from here, while you are trying to generate it from here. That's why you can't sync up your power. When you start from behind the ball's trajectory, you can feel the heavy spin you're creating. If you start below the ball and try to intercept it, you'll be able to lift this backspin ball with ease. The reason you can't generate power is that your swing path and the ball's trajectory aren't intersecting correctly. You're fighting the ball's path. You have to follow the ball's trajectory, drop down with it, then come up. That's how you lift the ball. So you must respect the trajectory of a backspin ball, which moves downward. Even if you can't lower your center of gravity, you must drop your shoulder. If not your shoulder, then your arm. And if not your arm, at least your wrist. Now think, why else might you hit the net? Is it possible that the ball is outside your ideal hitting zone? A bit too short, too long, or a bit too close to your body? I know I should move my feet, but sometimes I just can't get there in time. So for amateurs, I don't expect you to move perfectly for every wide ball, or to pivot and find your footing for shots down the middle. That's just too difficult. My advice is very practical. I want to help you make the shot even without perfect footwork. When you feel you're making errors on balls in different positions, you must learn to use your center of gravity. For example, don't keep your torso rigid. On a ball like this, you can adjust your center of gravity and make the shot. If you're just standing there straight as a board, of course it's hard to loop. If I misjudge the placement, don't just give up on the shot. I can shift my center of gravity slightly and still execute a good loop. Of course, proper footwork is always best. But sometimes you're just an inch away from making the shot. Leaning your body into it will help immensely. The same applies to balls to your body. If you get jammed, shift your weight onto your left leg. When the ball comes, press into your left leg, and you can still make the loop. Your center of gravity should be fluid, like one of those inflatable tube men, always shifting and adjusting. Many players' torsos are completely static. This makes looping very difficult. Learn to adjust with your core and center of gravity, and your shots will improve significantly. If the ball is very wide, of course you can't just lean, you've identified it's too far and you have to move your feet. But if you're only slightly out of position, leaning your body over is often all you need to make the shot. Why do we insist on a perfectly textbook motion every time? This is table tennis, not gymnastics. When your coach or practice partner feeds you balls, they're always in the perfect spot. But in a match, your opponent will see where you are and hit to the opposite side. In these situations, you must learn to find the ball with your center of gravity. Sometimes, just a tiny adjustment to your lean is enough to make the shot. If you can anticipate a half-long ball, the best option is to step in with your right foot. But what if I fail to anticipate it, and I'm caught without stepping in? What then? Can you let the ball drop a little more? By hitting it at a later point in its trajectory, I don't have to move my feet. If I try to hit it at its peak like this, of course I can't reach it. But if I wait, the ball will eventually come to me. I'll hit it at its latest point, when it's closer to me, and I won't need to adjust my feet. Why do you feel like you can't reach it? It's because you're trying to hit the ball at this early contact point. You try to swing when the ball is still far from you, but your feet are stuck. If you can't move, then don't try to take the ball at its highest point. Wait for it to come out. Look, even from far away from the table, I can wait and hit the ball at this later point. It will come to you eventually. Okay, the third reason for hitting the net is that your follow-through isn't creating a complete arc for the shot. What does that mean? Watch me hit two balls. The first. The second. The two motions looked similar, so why did the first one go into the net? You stopped your motion too early. This stopping can be invisible. It doesn't mean you physically freeze. It means you're just going through the motions, and your hand becomes soft and weak at impact. It looks like you're completing the stroke, but there's no power at contact. First, don't stop your motion prematurely. Don't hit the brakes too soon. You must fully commit to the second half of your stroke. What does that entail? After contact, my forearm must continue, I must rotate my waist and use my legs, my hip has to drive forward, and I have to meet the ball in front. These are all non-negotiable parts of the follow-through. Additionally, at the moment of contact, the force from your hand needs to be solid. What does not solid look like? Let me show you. And what does solid look like? The key to making solid, firm contact is acceleration through the ball. Accelerate through the second half of the stroke. Don't break early. You must complete and extend the motion. That's the first key point. The second is that against heavy spin, especially on a serve return where spin is most varied. At that moment, your hand must accelerate to complete the stroke. Look, on a ball like this, I can complete the motion slowly. Or I can do it fast. If you swing slowly, of course you can't lift the ball. The heavier the spin, the more solid your follow-through needs to be. Your swing frequency must increase, but your rhythm and brushing motion should remain calm. At the moment of contact, you need a burst of speed. This acceleration increases your shot quality and, more importantly, prevents you from hitting the net. After you brush the ball, you can't treat the rest of the swing like a simple forehand drive. If you use that slow speed, you'll definitely hit the net. Against spin, slowing down your loop refers to your rhythm and preparation, not your actual swing speed. If your swing is slow, how can you generate any quality? We're not talking about a slow, high-arcing loop. The key point here is solving how to bring more quality to your loop. The reason you're hitting the net is that after the initial lift, your follow-through is as soft and slow as a rally ball drive. It may look like a complete, textbook motion, but it has no power to lift the ball. So, you must make the second half of your stroke solid. It's not just about speed, it's about being firm. Being solid means your arm accelerates forward and meets the ball in front. All these elements contribute to clean contact. You can't loop the ball and then follow through with the softness of a simple drive. That kind of motion only works against no-spin balls. Let me demonstrate a few. Pay attention to the feeling in the second half of my stroke. See that? After the loop, there's that explosive follow-through. Look at how decisive it is.
相当果断。